That brings us to the NWA title picture, which start of the month began with the Jeff Jarrett and AJ Styles World title match.
It was fine.
Yeah, so earlier in that show, there's a Trio K segment. They come out, they're like, this mother's a bad jam. Conan does his catchphrases.
They did say that. They go, this mother is a bad jam.
Beware coming for you. It's the remix, 3 Live Crew. They did talk later in the month about remixing a new song, so it might be that song, Liam. You might get the Trio K theme.
Beware.
The most notable thing about this Trio K part of this segment is that BG James, for the first time in TNA history, does the classic New Age Outlaws intro.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, the National Wrestling Alliance proudly brings to you its new NWA-TNA Tag Team Champions of the World, the 3 Live Crew!
That makes sense, because this is the first time he's tag champions.
Yeah, the classic ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, total non-stop action proudly brings to you its new NWA-TNA Tag Team Champions of the World. He didn't do the not 1, not 2, 3 Live Crew. He didn't have that nailed down yet. He just did the 3 Live Crew. But it is, I think, the first time in TNA history the crowd actually cared about him.
Yeah, it's nice. Well, no, they did those cool segments outside of the asylum, and they were pretty into them there.
But they were into 3 Live Crew. They weren't into BG.
Yeah, I mean, I'd argue they're still into the 3 Live Crew here.
But like the crowd actively perked up. They're like, oh, he's doing the New Age Outlaws catchphrase. Woo!
He really nailed it with that, huh?
So a promo segment can't go by, as particularly the place in this show, this was the segment 2 promo segment. It can't go by without Jarrett coming out.
Because we're going to need to find out what side 3LK are on.
Yeah, so Jarrett is doing this thing all month where he wants talent to declare which side of the war they are on, because he has declared war on TNA and declared war on Eric Watts. And him and Don Callis are trying to remove Eric Watts from power, so they want everybody to declare which side they're on. Are they on Watts' side or are they on Jarrett's side?
I think we should declare what side we're on.
Okay, on 3, we'll say what side we're on. 3,
okay,
2, 1... Watts.
Eric Watts.
Oh, well done.
Of course.
I also realized I just said on 3 and then counted down from 3.
I know,
but
you did confuse me for a second, but I managed to compose myself in time.
Don't worry about it, it's fine. I gave you a nice long count so that you wouldn't get confused.
I like to imagine that everyone else at home also declared what side they're on. If you didn't, please at us with which side you're on. Are you Team Jarrett or Team Watts?
Of course, we will judge you severely depending on which side you're on.
Unless you can, hey, maybe I can be swayed.
That's true. You going to turn on Watts?
Well, he's losing power, so apparently.
So yeah, Jarrett comes out, asks 3LK, and AMW are in the ring, by the way. AMW also came out to continue beefing with 3LK a little. But to decide which side they're on, are they with Jarrett or are they with Watts? AMW immediately like, no, we're not on your side, Jeff, you suck. Then Jeff called them mid-card wrestlers.
Which is like such a twist from like, hi guys, you want to be on my side? Alright, mid-carders, alright. No one cares about your opinion.
It is very much like, I wanted you, but now you've turned on me. No, I don't want you.
Yeah. It's Sigma grind set, I told you. So
Jarrett wants an answer from 3LK, but they don't firmly declare which side they're on. Disco comes out with the NYC, which aren't still the NYC. It's Diamond Swinger and David Young. I'm going to call them the NYC from now on because it's easier, because it's 4 people.
I'm convinced this is a fan name you've given them.
Literally, it's in the entrance. It's live from the Bronx. It's NYC. It literally is right there. It's the New York connection.
I refuse to acknowledge that.
Trinity is added to it at some stage.
Oh, spoilers.
I know, I'm ruining it for you just to prove a point. But yeah, Disco declares loyalty to Jarrett, but Diamond and Swinger are mad, which sets up this month-long story where Diamond and Swinger are beefing with Disco.
The second best story of the month.
Sure.
Yeah.
I guess.
This rocked.
I wouldn't say it rocked, but... So yeah, Diamond and Swinger are mad. They don't want Disco speaking for them. They're mad about how David Young has cost them the tag titles. So Jarrett demands a decision from Diamond and Swinger. But Watts and Goldilocks come out instead because the segment is very long and there's lots of people in it. So Watts makes a 3-way number one contenders match between Diamond and Swinger, AMW, and David Young and Glenn Gilberti for later in the show. And also says that he will be in AJ Styles' corner for the main event.
I just want to mention real quickly that, like, for a man who apparently has no more power, he'd still be making matches at the drop of a dime.
Well, because he is the matchmaker. He is still the director of authority, Liam.
I guess what I'm saying here is that this is some sort of psyop slander campaign being run by the Jarretts to make Watts feel like, to insinuate that Watts has no power, but he clearly does.
Yeah, so when Watts is in the crowd, there's a dude standing behind Goldilocks who looks very shifty.
He tried to touch Watts at one point, and she's like, stop it.
And Watts continues not to say ass, unless he says Cal-ass. He calls Don Callis Cal-ass. But he doesn't call Jeff... The jackass Jarrett. He doesn't say ass for that. He says
Jeff Jack
ass.
Was getting the pop, you know?
Yeah, it's good. It's good babyface work. But yeah, the entire story this month is that there are rumors, as you mentioned, that Eric Watts is being ousted.
I can't believe Watts wasn't in the bracket for who could be the new main babyface as they go to TV.
I know, he's been the biggest star on the show. I can't even say that with a straight face.
Thank you. No, you said it. Live by it.
So Goldilocks is backstage changing in her dressing room, Liam.
Sure is.
Then Tracy Brooks comes in and they argue about whose dressing room it is.
Tracy with an eye.
That is a very important distinction. They drive that home later in the show during the Shane Douglas, Michael Shane against Chris Sabin and Sanjay Dutt match, where it's like, it's Tracy with an eye. No, it's Tracy with an eye.
Pie in the sky from Tracy with an eye.
That does rhyme.
They say it every time.
But here, Goldilocks is like, oh, this is my dressing room. Eric Watts gave it to me. And Tracy's like, lol. Watts doesn't have the power to give out dressing rooms.
And she's like, yes, he does.
No, he doesn't.
Yes, he does.
No, he doesn't.
Yes, he does.
No, he doesn't.
Yes, he does.
We'd have done a dramatic reenactment of the segment between Tracy and Goldilocks now. There you go.
Yeah, guess who was who?
How frizzy is your hair?
Very.
Oh, you're definitely Goldilocks.
Buy a fucking brush. State of you.
But yeah, the thing here is Tracy's like, oh, Watts might be let go, and Goldilocks looks concerned.
Yeah, she's doubting her man. To be fair, he hasn't been the most forthcoming with any information, so...
That brings us to our main event, in which Jarrett defends the NWA World Heavyweight Championship against the phenomenal AJ Styles in a good match, not great match.
It's fine.
It's I gave it 3 1/4. It's they still make title matches feel like a big deal. They do the traditional introductions. They do a video package. They do the tale of the tape. They do everything, to be fair to them, and they do the dramatic entrances with the slow music. They do as much as they can to make title matches still feel like a big deal, even if every time they descend into the same old like bullshit run-ins, rep bumps.
Oh, I feel like this will be the next 3 years of this.
It sure will be. I hope you're excited, because there was a period where these matches happened, particularly, I think it was the first Jarrett Styles match, which is easily their best match, where you were like, maybe this formula is good. Do you still think this formula is good, Liam?
I don't hate it, but I will. This formula works if a crowd's into it. If a crowd's is molten and cheering and going nuts every run-in, then yeah, it'll work. But right now, they don't give a fuck.
So this is where Mike TNA just casually slid in that Hulk Hogan's knee surgery isn't going so well and he's not coming to TNA.
I mean, I'm shocked.
Just dropped it in there. During a pre-match interview with, I think it was Styles was doing this it was with Jarrett. And Jarrett was like, here is the wall where all of the former NWA champions are. And it was of the TNA era. And it was a photo of Jarrett. And it was a photo of Styles. And I was like, where the fuck is Ron?
Yeah, what the fuck? Where's Ken?
And Ken, there's only been 4 of them. Could you not put up 2 other photos?
Maybe they were just off screen. Ron still works for the company. I mean, I guess if you want to like not acknowledge Ken, sure, whatever. But Ron's there.
Yeah.
You could get a photo.
It's like, hey, hold this belt. We need a photo for the wall.
To be fair, I think like they forgot Ron was champion too. Because at one point in one of the matches, Don West goes, Ron could be a champion in any division.
Well, I think that's just his flexibility.
He was. He was champ, guys.
He's NWA World Champ.
And like Jarrett was like, you're going to be a future star. It's like, again, he was the champion.
Before you were too, pal.
That's like as like idiotic as when he would be like, AJ, you're not on this level. He beat you.
So I did love Jarrett in this match. He did a slingshot crossbody and then started gloating about how he's like, I'm X Division level. He also, for some reason, did the 3 Amigos.
Yeah, busted out.
He's Eddie Guerrero of the NWA-TNA. Jarrett does not have the hip work to make that work, though.
Who does?
Eddie Guerrero.
Ah, Santana.
Yeah, it is very funny to see the people who do have like the hip flexibility to make it 3 Amigos look good, and the people who don't, and it looks terrible.
Yeah, to be fair, like there's a reason Eddie did it best, you know. He'd get like these like gymnast style leg rolls.
Yeah,
it was crazy.
So interference kicked in. Watts came out, hit Jarrett with a choke slam for actually what was honestly a pretty good near fall. Crowd bit on that one.
I mean, when the biggest star in the company comes out, you know.
The red shirts ran out, Gathering ran them off, Abyss ran out, but AMW ran off. Ref bump when Jarrett missed an enziguri. Jimmy Hart came out as a substitute ref, but Kid Cash stopped him from counting down a Styles Clash. Favorite part of that, he was pulled out of the ring by Cash, and he counted 1, and he was like looking over his shoulder, being like, "Where's Kid Cash?" Very slowly counted 2, and he's like, "Whoa," and then Kid Cash finally got there just about on time.
I remember when Jimmy came in, I was like, Jimmy's turning. I'm so like broken by this company, I'm like, Jimmy's definitely turning here. He's going to declare his allegiance to Jeff Jarrett.
He probably would have a better angle if Jimmy did turn.
But then he'd have to stick around.
But then he could be the manager of this Jarrett stable. I guess Callis is already the manager of this Jarrett stable, so that would be a conflicting role. But yeah, Kid Cash pulled him out. Jarrett hit Styles with a guitar, retained the NWA title. The big development here is that Kid Cash has declared loyalty to Jeff Jarrett.
What a development. We're firmly in like the Jarrett guitar stuff now.
This is the Jarrett. This is the TNA Jeff Jarrett. Because like the version of Jarrett, we've mentioned this a couple times, that we've seen in TNA so far, which is like Stone Cold Jeff Jarrett, kind of general Southern babyface Jeff Jarrett, and then generic babyface Jeff Jarrett. Those are not the TNA Jeff Jarretts, the ones that the kind of Jeff Jarrett that immediately comes to everybody's mind the second they think of Jeff Jarrett and TNA. This Jeff Jarrett is TNA Jeff Jarrett.
Mm-hmm.
Overbearing, guitar shots, ref bumps, run-ins. That's TNA Jeff Jarrett.
We've hit the point. And I'm sure it won't get old.
As mentioned, we have 3 more years of this.
Hey, at least it can happen in the Impact Zone.
Or the crowds can make noise as opposed to some other buildings.
Yeah, they should move.
So that brings us to NWA-TNA pay-per-view number 74, December 10th, 2003, from the Asylum, where Jarrett starts the show sitting down with all of his crew outlining his victims. His victims are Hulk Hogan, Jimmy Hart, Jim Duggan, Rick Steiner, Dusty Rhodes, Toby Keith. I like him putting Toby Keith in there even though he got suplexed by him. Vince Russo and the Tennessee Titans.
Who beat the fuck out of him.
Those are the victims of Jeff Jarrett and TNA. The soon-to-be victims are AMW, AJ Styles, Don Harris, and Eric Watts.
I like how they didn't consider them victims, even though they've probably done more to them than they did to some of the others.
Yeah. And then, on the fence, Tree Life Crew.
What about Shane Douglas? The new franchise is also on the fence.
But we don't get to the franchise until later in the show when Scott Hudson asks him, it's like, what side are you on? He's like, you know what?
At this point, he's still on the fence, though. He should be on the fence ahead of time. The Gathering should be on the fence.
I think you have to be asked what side you're on until you're on the fence, though.
Raven is not on the soon-to-be victim side.
That's true, even though there's a whole feud about it.
What could it mean?
So this show features the return of Hot Rod Roddy Piper. The show opens with Kid Cash against Don Harris. They have a match. Red shirts interfere. Jarrett hits Don Harris with a guitar. Kid Cash wins.
Good summary.
That's what happened. Afterwards, Styles came out, ran off Jarrett's crew with a chair. They surrounded him around the ring, but then you hear the sound of bagpipes, Liam. That's definitely the sound of Roddy Piper's theme song. Well done.
Thank you.
Nashville pipes and drums come strolling in. Jeff Jarrett looks shook as Hot Rod Roddy Piper finally returns to the Asylum after months of being ostracized and pulled out. And Piper is back. Piper gets in the ring, says Jarrett was on his victims list, not the other way around. D'Lo Brown returns to help Styles and Piper take out Jarrett and company.
Well, he says not the other way around, but Roddy Piper was not on the victims list.
It's true, he's not there. So he's right. He's just stating a fact here. He was not a victim of Jeff Jarrett. It's interesting. We do get a little Piper physicality where he fights off the red shirts with some knee lifts, some punches.
It's fun.
And then main event is made. Styles and D'Lo versus Jarrett and a partner for the main event with Piper in Styles and D'Lo's corner. Listen, for as much as Piper was kind of bad in all of those pre-tapes and all of his previous promos, I liked Piper here.
Yeah, he had the same kind of energy as Jake did when he first came into AEW as a manager, where it's like a little off kilter, a little unhinged, but still good.
Yeah, and for as much as he's just, as you said, unhinged, and some of his promos in TNA have been unhinged for many different reasons. He's been here a couple of times over the last year now, especially with his pre-tapes. But God, he's a huge star. He's still Rowdy Roddy Piper. For God, like, he can be terrible. He can cut the worst promos in the world. But when that dude's walking out to freaking an entire pipes and drum band, the Nashville Pipes and Drums, like, he feels like the biggest star in this company.
He got his one health insurance line in.
Yeah. He's like, this company gave health insurance, but didn't. I don't know. That story's weird.
He said this guy gave health insurance so that young guys like him won't. And it's like, didn't they?
Wasn't the whole thing that they didn't give him health insurance? And he's like, he was like, oh, the NWA is one of the few places that has health insurance for these young guys. It's like, wasn't the whole point of this angle was that they didn't?
Also, they don't?
Yeah. In fact, there's a story that I didn't include this month that like there was a fundraiser for Rick Santel's shoulder surgery because he hurt his shoulder on TNA, as if you remember. And there was the whole thing. It's like, well, he didn't get any medical help from TNA.
But they organised the fundraiser.
Well, they did contribute to it, and even Hogan and Piper submitted things as well. So
You know what? I'd hope Piper would after all this.
submitted stuff to be auctioned off. Yeah, Piper. He did do a Neverland line about Don Callis being disappointed, which is like, "Eesh."
There's a few lines this month where it's like, oh, we're getting back to the old cringeworthy lines, aren't we?
Edgy TNA. It's edgy.
Well, we got BG fell back into that trope a little bit too.
Doesn't he always? He can't trust BG to open his mouth for longer than like 4 sentences without them resorting to something.
Yeah, it was in the NYC angle where they came up, they started arguing with each other, and he's like, I'll leave you boys to discuss same-sex marriage.
Oh,
and
yeah.
he just left.
It's like, you.
2003.
Friday, as we record this, was the 19-year anniversary of the AJ Styles Chainsaw Gaisler moment. So there you go.
We should repost the YouTube link.
Celebrate that wonderful moment in TNA history. Wonderful.
That moment is legitimately funny. Just because he gets flustered.
The first thing that comes out of his mouth is a slur.
Yeah, he's like, I don't know what to say here, so I'm gonna say a slur.
So the show long story here is that who is Jarrett's partner going to be? I don't know why, because his partner just ends up being Kid Cash.
Sure.
Like, it could have just been announced to be Kid Cash at the start of the show. Why was it a mystery?
Because you want to catch those people who are flipping the oh wait.
Which brings us to our main event. AJ Styles and D'Lo Brown reunite their tag team to face Kid Cash and Jeff Jarrett.
It's a nice return to form with some flags being incorporated.
Oh, which flags? Oh, because Piper had an NWA flag. Yeah.
Yeah. I obviously huge flag show over here.
Mm-hmm.
Some would call us the flagship.
Yes, of course.
And I just appreciated, for us.
Just appealing to our deep love of flags.
Yeah. It's a good flag. That is a flag I would put on my wall.
The NWA flag?
Yeah.
I'm sure Billy is probably selling them.
Have to get in contact.
So yeah, finish of this match is Piper hit Cash with the NWA flag, allowing Styles did a middle rope Styles clash for the win. Yeah, it was a nice little match. It was nothing special.
Yeah, I liked it.
D'Lo came out with a cool robe.
Yeah, like I'm back from old Japan.
I have my robe from my Japanese excursion.
Yeah, I like when people do that.
To make me look like a cool, legit pro wrestler.
Robes are cool.
They are.
You know how much cooler the major players?
What?
Myers and Cardona.
You could have just said Myers and Cardona, but sure.
Yeah, I had to remember their actual tag name. But they have cool robes now, and I'm a big fan of it.
Yeah, it's nice to see Styles and D'Lo back together. This is the end of their brief run. They have another tag match next week, and they don't team again until I think June or July.
But to be fair, this is more of an extended run than I thought we were going to get. So
yeah, we got a few more little Styles and D'Lo matches to add to the Styles and D'Lo canon. But after this match, Watts announces that Jeff Jarrett will face Sting next week, but there is dispute over whether or not it'll be a title match.
I think it won't be.
My favorite part is they accidentally played Sting's music early after. Or Styles won the match. They played the Styles music and then Sting's music just randomly hit and then cut away.
Yeah, I liked it. It was fun. And the crowd's like,
Yeah, and then when Watts announces Jarrett versus Sting, they cut to a scorpion on the wall of the stage as they play Sting's music.
How did he do that?
How did he get the scorpion? Did he buy a projector?
Is he sitting there with the projector? Why didn't he just come out?
He's just up in the rafters projecting it down.
Wow.
He's like Batman. It's the Sting signal. The Stignal. It's the Stignal.
I mean, I can't beat it, so...
NWA-TNA Baby number 76, December 17th, opened with Jeff Jarrett versus Sting. It actually really opened with Eric Watts rallying the troops. People are questioning Eric Watts' leadership here multiple times, Liam.
Yeah, because we had basically the same segment last week with a cooler array of people.
It's just because Punk was there.
No, it was because Sabin was there, actually.
Punk was at both. It was Sabin, which was the guy who was missing. So yes, I will accept the cooler array of people. I apologize.
Yeah, Sabin was in this one, and Don Harris was at the next one, so...
That is really trading down.
Yeah, and people I mean, the Gathering makes sense that the Gathering would be the two who are like, all right, maybe what they were saying about you's right, and they left.
Yeah, we don't get indoctrinated into cults like this.
Yeah, no, we're free thinkers.
We can see through these kind of antics.
We also have Eric Watts in a snazzy suit.
Oh yeah, so yeah, the opening segment of that show is that Jarrett comes out and he's like, ha, I don't have to defend the NWA title because I don't have to defend it for 30 days. And he does the Jeff Jarrett head point. He's all very proud of himself.
Ha, ain't I great?
He's like, if this was football, it'd be 45-0 against Eric Watts.
I don't know what that means.
That's a score line.
Oh, Like, is it a specific, like, is it relevant to a thing that was happening at the time, or?
I don't think so. I think he just said a number.
Cool.
Watts and Goldie came out. Watts pulled his pocket square and he threw it as like a flag on the play to extend the football metaphor. He's like,
It all went over my head.
while Jeff Jarrett is right that it will not be an NWA title match, he will actually be facing Sting right now. So Jarrett versus Sting, typical interference. Red Shirts interfered, AMW ran them off. Kid Cash handed Jarrett a guitar, but AJ took it away, allowing Sting to hit the Scorpion Death Drop and win. And then Jarrett threw a hissy fit and got into a fight with Mike Tenay.
Yeah, and Tenay had some great faces.
Oh, there were some sensational Mike Tenay faces. He was like outraged and angry and indignant all in one facial expression. Tremendous stuff from Mike Tenay.
The best.
And for a guy who's usually like quite measured, even if he's angry, he's angry in a measured way on this show. He was like unhinged. He was making unhinged faces. He's gone full Goldie.
He was gonna fight too.
Yeah, he was getting stuck in. He pushed Jarrett back. It's like he's getting stuck into it with Jarrett. It's Mike Tenay and Jeff Jarrett.
There was a child flipping Jarrett off.
Oh yeah, well done, child. Who hates Jeff Jarrett. And I will say they were outlining the people who could potentially be baby faces in the show. Raven and Chris Harris and AJ Styles. What about Mike Tenay?
I thought you were gonna say, what about the child in the crowd?
Hey, the child in the crowd could be a decent candidate too.
Yeah, moved to Florida.
So yeah, Sting beat Jarrett to set up a match that doesn't happen.
Oh.
We should mention an important point on the show, of course, is that Goldilocks is questioning Eric Watts now, Liam.
I mean, can you blame her?
Her life has not gone well since her relationship with Eric Watts started. She lost her job. She has the frizziest hair that has ever frizzed on television, except maybe Bobby Roode. Bobby Roode probably has frizzier hair.
I don't know. It's a neck and neck race
between Goldilocks and Bobby Roode for frizzy hair.
Yeah. I mean, like we said, it's a terrible relationship. They're not good for each other, but I can't imagine them with anyone else.
Yeah, because it started last month with their interrogator segment where she was like, "You're going to get rid of Don Callis, right, Eric?" And
no, to be fair, it started from the beginning. From the moment that they first talked to each other, it was already contentious.
Yeah, the descent is ramping up, and now she's increasingly questioning the choices and decisions of Eric Watts.
Well, she got mocked by Tracy with an eye.
It's true. She's lower in the pecking order than Tracy with an eye. Doesn't get worse than that.
I mean, literally, she might be the lowest ranked person on the show.
So later in the show, they continue to question the loyalty of Diamond and Swinger. We'll talk about that more when we're talking about the tag team stuff. And then Styles, Sting, and Jarrett brawled at ringside for the cage match main event.
Mm-hmm.
That's your world title scene in which Jeff Jarrett doesn't have a challenger, because the whole idea is that Raven lost his shot against Abyss and the Red Shirts, and AJ lost his shot against Diamond and Swinger, which we'll talk about in a second when we get to the tag stuff. So Raven, D'Lo, and AJ are all out of the title picture, so Jarrett has removed all of his foes, even though he still has a scheduled title match on January 7th. So who will he face?
I think he will face Hulk Hogan.
Brother. My knee suddenly had a sudden recovery, brother, and I'm coming in to save the day. What you gonna do?
And we're running the Silver Dome, brother.
I only need one knee to take down Jeff Jarrett, brother.
We're doing it in Tokyo, brother.